2 weeks ago, I moved into my dream house, and this room basically got turned into my messy storage room. But I'm gonna be completely transforming it into my dream gaming and recording room. The first step is clearing everything out of this room till it's completely empty, which is definitely gonna take a really long time since I have 5 huge heavy-duty shelves and a ton of stuff on them already. Now the whole room is finally completely empty. But since I just moved into this house 2 weeks ago, I left a lot of things at my other house, like desks and some shelves, so I need to go get those. There's only one issue though, my car is way too small to fit any furniture, so I need to go get a U-Haul truck. Okay, so I just got the U-Haul truck, but why is it actually so nice? It's like the U-Haul van. We have a ton of space in the back there, but no one told me that they got like high tech. They even have screens in here. Yo, this is actually crazy, and the AC is so good. I have it on like the low mode. Dude, this thing is like fully high tech. But now let's just go drive to my other house and pick up all the stuff that I need, and we should have enough space because I actually think there's like 9 feet of space here, so we should be good. At least I hope. I'm not trying to make multiple trips, bro. And now I'm finally in my second house. Mostly completely cleared out. This used to be my old bedroom, but as you guys can see, there's like literally nothing in here. There's only a few things left. I'm actually gonna leave a few things for the renters, like that table over there and this. I actually don't need those, but I think I am gonna bring this huge rug. And the only other things I need are basically in the garage. Like I might take some of these monitors. They're like really old, like 24-inch kind of budget ones, so I don't even know if I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take this washing cart, and then I also do want this racing sim. This is the desk I'm gonna be building the setup on, and I also have this mirror, but yeah, that's really it. So I might have went a little bit overkill renting an entire U-Haul truck for like almost $100 just to move these because I didn't have a truck, but let's get to moving. You literally can't make this up. As soon as I'm trying to move right now, it just starts pouring. It's like classic Florida, bro. I'm just gonna get soaked, I guess, at this point. Like, of course it has to pour, bro. It literally doesn't even look like it's super cloudy, but I checked the weather and it's gonna be raining for the rest of the day, so I'm just gonna have to get wet. It literally is what it is. Just, you know, my luck, bro. Okay, so everything I needed ended up fitting inside of the truck. I honestly just kind of threw everything in and called it a day. Also, that mirror, I promise you, is not gonna break. Those mirrors from IKEA, I don't know what they did. I've literally like thrown them around and they never break. But anyways, it's time to drive to the house I just moved into where I'm building the whole setup and drop all of this off. That honestly took so much longer than I expected, but now I finally can drop this thing off and start the room build. Finally, after moving everything from my original house to this new house, we can get started with the room build. And the first thing I'm gonna be adding is the carpet that actually was my living room carpet. I just don't like the tile at all. It doesn't look cozy, and the white on this I think is gonna make it look way nicer. The only concern I do have with it though is it might be a little bit big for this room, where like some of the carpet might be creased up a little bit, but I have a fix for it later. First though, let's just add the carpet. So if I have the carpet like I wanted to, it does crease up just a tiny bit, so I'm gonna try switching the direction. This definitely fits way better. It is like perfectly symmetrical and like has a little bit of space on each of the sides. It also does pretty much line up with both of these pillars over here, but I think I actually want to move the rug just so it completely covers this. I know more tile will show over here, but I think once I have all the furniture in the room, that will just make the most sense. So I'm just gonna move the carpet right up to this wall. That literally fits perfectly, and all of this space is actually completely fine because I'm gonna have like desks and all that kind of stuff over here. And speaking about desks, I'm actually gonna bring my first desk, which I just brought from the other house. It's the dark wood one, and I'm actually gonna put it right up against the window because I wanna have a lot of natural light. Trust me, it's gonna end up looking insane, and this is where I'm gonna be building the main gaming setup. I really like this desk because it's on wheels and it makes it extremely easy to move around. Plus it is actually a standing desk that is electric, so I can easily control the height. So if I wanted to be all productive, I could stand and work, or I can just sit down and like try hard and game and do all of that. Before I start building the main setup though, I want to do something that's a little bit crazy. So this is really funny, but there were previously renters in this house, and this wall was a little bit like dirty and kind of like beat up a bit because they were using this as a storage room. Like, nothing against them, they weren't bad renters. I just had to get it repainted, and I actually used the wrong paint code. I'm not even joking. So I hired a painter and we used the wrong code. It's like basically the exact same. It's very hard to tell on camera, but anyways, what I wanted to do is fill out this entire wall over here with grass panels. There just is a lot of white in this room, and I really want to add some contrast, and I love wood like veneer panels, but those are so expensive, and I've used grass panels in a lot of my gaming setups, and they look really, really good. So I just wanted to take that to the extreme and literally cover up this entire wall. And these are just a bunch of grass wall panels I've had from a ton of gaming setups. However, this is a pretty big wall, and I've never filled out an entire wall like from the bottom all the way to the top. So I ordered a few more off of Amazon along with like more pins because I'm gonna need a ton of push pins to actually add the grass panels. But for now, with what I have, I think I should be good. And I'm just gonna start from the bottom and we're gonna work our way up. I hung up as many grass wall panels as I could. The reason I actually didn't use all of them though is clearly it is a completely different color. These are way lighter and I have a full box of them, but I'm definitely not gonna use them. The reason this over here is empty is because I'm actually gonna be adding like an entire Husky workbench. These are like 400 pounds. I have it in my garage, but it is way too heavy to bring it in. So I need to wait for another day when my friends are here or like someone to help me lift it up. But anyways, of course, with the other grass wall panels, once they arrive, I will be able to fill out the whole rest of this wall. And I also think it's already looking so good. I love the contrast of it. Once it's all done, it's really gonna look good. But while I wait for all the grass panels to come tomorrow, we can get started on building the setup. And the most important part of any gaming setup is what you're using to power it on, aka the PC. And I'm gonna be using this brand new $1,500 gaming PC. I know it's not inside of a box, but I've never used this PC and I just unboxed it yesterday and it's just too good, I have to use it. Inside of this gaming PC, it actually has 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. It also is using a Ryzen 5 7600X. So it's gonna be really, really good if I decide to record and stream on this PC at the same time. Just for multitasking in general, it's really good. And then of course, for the graphics card, which is looking really, really nice, it is using the RTX 5050. When this entire gaming PC is turned on, it just looks so good with all the RGB, and it's gonna be more than powerful enough for this setup. On this setup, I'm just gonna be running one monitor, but it's definitely not a normal monitor. So this is a 32-inch monitor, and it's pretty much brand new because it literally still has all the wrapping on it, as you guys can see. And just like the gaming PC, the specs on this monitor are genuinely insane. This monitor right over here, believe it or not, is actually 4K, so really good resolution. It is also 240 hertz, so a 4K 240 hertz monitor. And it also has a 0.03 millisecond response time, so it's super responsive and gonna be really good even when I'm trying to play FPS games and not just like casual games. But in my opinion, the best part about this monitor is the fact that it actually is OLED too, which is the part I honestly care about the most. Maybe I'm just getting unk. But dude, if you have an OLED monitor, you already know it's insane how much of a difference it is from normal like IPS monitors or even like mini LED monitors. OLED monitors just look insane, and the fact that I'm getting an OLED 240 hertz 4K monitor, so insane performance, resolution, and like color quality. It's literally the best of both worlds. It's literally the best of every single realm you could get in a monitor. It's pretty overkill, and the fact that it's 32 inches as well, it's gonna be like really, really nice and fit this setup perfectly. The monitor would actually look really, really good even if I just had it on the monitor stand like this. I could easily tilt it, but of course, I am gonna be adding a monitor arm. I feel like it just makes any gaming setup way, way better because you can just have way more adjustability. Plus, it mainly just frees up space on the bottom of your desk. So let's just get this monitor mounted and looking fire. Why did I say that? I had to mount the monitor upside down actually, just because the monitor mount stand over on the back wouldn't fit unless I flipped it. So this is how the monitor is looking. I know it is pretty low as well. I can easily raise it if I want to add things under it, but for now, I think I'm going to keep it like this. However, I might raise it in the future. I really like how the setup is looking so far. However, on the desk, there are actually a few scratches because I have had this desk for like 2 or 3 years. And luckily, I can easily fix that with one of my own Elevate Culture gaming mouse pads. This is only one of the designs, and of course, like 2 different colors. I actually think the all black look would fit a little bit better in this setup instead of the white. I also have other designs and colors, so make sure you check out Elevate Culture down below. $25 a mouse pad. And when I put it on this setup, it makes it look way, way better and literally fills out all the space so good. Next up for the keyboard, I am going to be using the ROG Azoth. It is black and kind of like a darkish gray, so it matches really, really good with the mouse pad. I just love how it sounds as well. It does have lubed switches, and I also am going to be pairing it with just a coiled cable that of course is black, so everything is kind of sticking to the dark theme, which really contrasts well, I think, against the white walls and will match the grass panels once it's like all up. And I'm keeping it simple with the mouse. Honestly, I just am using this because it's wireless. It is called the ROG Gladius 3. To be honest, the main reason I'm using it is because it's like somewhat lightweight and it's just mainly like wireless. So yeah, it will just kind of fit the clean setup that I'm trying to go for, especially since I have one like single monitor here. Basically, I'm just trying to build a really clean yet like powerful setup. So here is how the setup is looking so far. Trust me, it is very, very far from complete. But in terms of the foundation, I think it's actually looking pretty good. Before I continue building on the setup, adding stuff like microphones, lights, RGB lights, plants, all that stuff, I want to actually fill out the rest of the room. Starting off with this corner. I really wanted this room to feel like very open, and the best way to do that is by adding a mirror, and this one is honestly massive. And you guys can now see yourself. Just standing here, this mirror makes the room feel so much bigger. Honestly, this mirror is like kind of obnoxiously big. Once I have more stuff in the room, it will definitely feel a little bit more filled out. But yeah, this mirror over here definitely fills out like this entire kind of area. And if you guys haven't already realized, this room is not a normal room because it's actually supposed to be like an office. It is still a room, it just is extremely open and doesn't actually have like a closet or a door. This door you guys are seeing right here is literally the front door. So I actually decided to still keep 2 of the shelves right over here in this like little, I guess, area. Don't mind all that RGB, that's my living room down there. But yeah, this is where I'm gonna be putting a few packages all around here. I already have like some few random ones and like monitors, but I do really like the the open vibe of this room, and I think having the mirror there just literally makes this feel even bigger. And for this corner of the room, I wanted to go pretty basic with a plant. I really want to keep this room feeling open. I have two different options here, so I just want to kind of compare which one I like better. So first, this bamboo plant, it is a little bit lighter and I think is a little bit smaller as well. Let me back up and see. Okay, I definitely think this one's smaller, but let me see the other one. This plant is honestly huge and feels like it's 2 times the size. Okay, honestly, I think this one fits way better. It is darker leaves as well and really fits with the grass wall panels. So yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this one right over here. I'm not done with this wall or corner. I might still add like an RGB like little bulb, or maybe even like an RGB floor lamp with a bulb that comes out right over here, and it'll be like some nice lighting. I think that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, overall, I think this plant is good. Of course, with something added to the right side, I now need to add something to the left. And I know I have some shelves right over there, but these are more like storage shelves, and I think I should add a decoration shelf here. And just like before, I have 2 options. So this is the first one. I think the all black look definitely fits really, really nicely, and honestly, like the width of it is pretty good. So this one is definitely like a good option. I also really do like the idea of maybe adding vines or like some extra greenery over on this side to kind of match all the green I have going on the other side of the room. But let me show you guys the second option. So taking this one out, this is the second option. I feel like they are honestly very, very similar. Okay, I just backed up, and comparing them, I think this one fits more in like a bedroom or like a very cozy space. I feel like it doesn't match as well as the other one, so I think I'm gonna go with the first option. So back this shelf goes just like that, and yeah, I think it definitely does look better. This is literally how all of my room builds go. I always try and like really plan it as good as I can, but I always change my mind when I see things in person. However, this is definitely gonna be more of like a decoration shelf for sure, and it's gonna look really, really good once I put like all my favorite kind of things on it. And there is one very obvious last part of the room that is completely empty. I'm actually not gonna tell you guys yet what I'm gonna be putting over this entire section or part of the room. It will have a desk, but I guarantee none of you guys will be able to guess what it is. However, before I actually get started on building anything here, I really wanna wait until I can complete this entire wall over here and also add the entire Husky workbench, because I will have some other things kind of added around this grass wall panel. So let's just cut to day number 3, where I hopefully bought enough grass wall panels to complete this wall. And it's actually been almost 2 weeks since I last filmed this video. However, I have a lot of updates. These wall panels actually finally came in. They did get delayed a few days. However, I also was busy, but now I am able to actually finish the rest of this wall, and I made sure I definitely bought enough because I didn't want to be short on any of them. And then I might need to cut a little bit of extra ones to kind of get the very like top of the wall done. I also am definitely going to move this mirror because I want to make sure I get the grass wall panels right up over there. So this probably is going to take me like 30 minutes, but I'm just gonna grind this out, and I don't have a ladder, so I'm just gonna be using like a random high chair, and hopefully I don't fall off. So I just finished putting up all the panels, and I think it's pretty safe to say that you can easily, even on camera, see the difference. I actually think it shows up more on camera than in person, but for some reason, all of the new panels I got are way lighter compared to the old ones, which is literally so annoying because I literally bought these specific panels from the exact same Amazon listing as these ones, but I guess they switched their manufacturer. I don't think they're darker just because I've had these for 2 years. There's like no way they're that much darker. I think they just switched their manufacturer, and it sucks because if I wanted everything to be 100% perfect, then I literally would just need to order all of these, completely redo it, wait a week, and I just don't think it's worth it really, to be honest, because as you guys can see, there is something that's gonna be covering most of this bottom part anyways. So let me show you guys what it is. It is massive, by the way. Here it is. is, it literally is this massive husky workbench that doesn't even almost fit in camera. It's so big. I'm not even joking. This thing has to be like 500 pounds because it took me and 2 of my friends just to move this up the doorstep in my front door. That's why I actually could not bring it in earlier. It was so heavy. But this thing is literally so wide. It's gonna take up like this entire wall. So let me just try putting it in place, and then I'll show you guys why I'm specifically adding it in this room. Okay, so I kind of got the workbench where I wanted it, but I'm actually just gonna quickly change this one grass wall panel because it's literally just the single one that's a different color and makes it look really bad. But I also am gonna use this darker one down over here with all the dark ones because I actually am missing this little spot that I need to cover. So let's just quickly switch the grass panels. Okay, at least that looks a little bit better, but to be honest, it is extremely hard to get all these panels to look really good because quite honestly, it's just a bunch of squares, and to line everything up is honestly like impossible. Maybe if you spend like 5 hours doing it, but I don't know. I've literally been doing this for years and I've never been able to get them like looking all good. So for now, like it's better than the full white wall in my opinion. So this thing is basically just the ultimate workbench. The reason I really like it is, of course, it gives me a bunch of space over here. And as someone that's always recording videos and unboxing products, just having an open desk like this, or I guess open tabletop since it's not a desk, is very, very useful. But of course, it is extremely useful for storing anything because look at how much space there is. Like these drawers, there are so many. And I actually definitely do plan to store a lot of things on this, like camera gear and a bunch of that other stuff. Especially since on the side here, it has a bunch of like charging ports and everything, or actually like AC ports I can also use. So I could like connect a laptop or like anything on this. It's just so useful and I actually think it looks so sick. I love the way it looks. Plus it was just sitting in my garage. I bought it like 2 years ago for way too much money. I don't know why I spent that much money on it, but here I'm actually gonna be able to use it for camera gear, and it's gonna keep everything really organized. But now with this massive thing moved into the room, it's time to actually get started on this wall. I originally was thinking of just putting shelves here and using it for like more decorations, but I do have a desk I'm gonna be putting here, and I'm gonna explain what exactly I'm gonna be using it for. So I have this massive 63-inch standing desk from IKEA, of course in all white. So it definitely is a different color compared to all the like woods I was using in this room, and obviously kind of darker colors. But the reason I'm going for a white tabletop here is actually because I plan to use this as like almost a useful room. Since it's right next to my front door, I actually want to do like some bigger unboxings instead of like going up the stairs that you guys can see over there. If I have a massive box, I think it will be pretty useful like to unbox a 50-pound gaming PC on this desk instead of having to bring it up the stairs fully packaged. So I'm gonna be using this as like an overhead kind of filming, content creation desk, if that makes sense. But let me know in the comments if you guys have any better ideas. I just think this is more useful than like shelves, especially since I already have shelves over there and like I'm not really even filling it out. And since this is a recording kind of part of the room, of course I need this triple C clamp. It basically just allows you to have overhead cameras, overhead lighting, and all that useful stuff. And of course I am able to like move it really high up, kind of like this. It gives it more of like a studio room vibe now that I have this here, but I am able to attach my camera, which is why you see like this little black thing here, and I can also attach lighting and all of that. So this is not only gonna be like my kind of dream aesthetic room, but it also is gonna somewhat be used as my productive office. Even though I'm just recording like gaming videos, but you guys know what I mean. Okay, so this is how the room is looking, and I'm gonna change it. There's just way too many colors going on. I think this desk and overhead thing is just like really throwing off the look of the room because everything else is kind of dark apart from the carpet, and it just looks very messy and like cluttered, and dude, it just looks like there's so much going on. But I think I just thought of the perfect idea, which is gonna make it look way better, which is simply just moving these two heavy duty shelves right over here. And I think the kind of heavy duty but also kind of roomy office look is gonna match this a lot, and it is the exact same kind of wood as the Husky workbench. Plus, if I move both of these shelves, I will have like more space for like big boxes like that I can add over there, and it just kind of clears up the walkway and will make the house feel a little bit more clean and open. This literally always happens when I'm doing like dream room videos because I always like find out a better way to build the room. So yeah, let's just get to moving literally like half the room. This looks so much better. Everything matches way more. And keep in mind, these are kind of like heavy duty shelves, so they are used for storing. I definitely am gonna be using these shelves for exactly that. So it's not really like I'm gonna be decorating and kind of making these shelves look all pretty. Unlike this one where it's kind of more for like decorations and a bunch of other things like that. However, I honestly think these are really, really useful because there is so much space to add anything I want here. And then of course, paired with all the drawers over here, this is kind of like the ultimate content creation, I guess, like corner. And dude, this mirror, you guys have probably been seeing me the entire video. The room is pretty much completely filled out with furniture though, as you guys can see, but I have one small thing I want to add. The reason I say last thing I'm gonna add is because it's like the last, I guess, furniture piece of this room, because honestly, this room is very, very packed already and I don't want to like clutter it up too much. However, it's just a small lamp with an RGB bulb. Once this is plugged in, it's gonna look really, really good and kind of like light up this entire part of the wall. I might change it up onto this side of the wall. However, I actually did kind of get a really good idea to actually build a little bit of a setup here. Trust me, you're just gonna have to wait to see the process. However, speaking about setups, let's actually finish off the peripherals of this. I'm not looking to actually start decorating this with a bunch of RGB yet. However, I do have like the main peripherals down, but there are a few more that I'm actually missing. So if you guys have ever watched one of my videos, you know what this is. It basically is just a monitor light bar, and it does exactly what it sounds like. You just sit it on top, and I actually think it's gonna cover this little sensor, which is fine because I'm not gonna really use it. And it kind of looks a little bit awkward there anyways. So honestly, having this monitor light bar right over here literally looks perfect, and it already makes the setup look better. I honestly have to admit, I do genuinely use this often, like to light up my actual like keyboard and mouse, especially if I'm like working late at night or just using the setup late at night. It just kind of prevents eye strain, and if you've never used it before, like trust me, it's a game changer. But I also just think it makes like a setup look better. So that's why I literally add them in pretty much every setup. But I think I have most of the setup completely put together, except there's one massive thing that's missing, which is the audio. And I was deciding between going with headphones or speakers. However, I just always wear headphones, so that's why I got these. They are called the SteelSeries Arctic Nova Pro Omnis, and they actually come with their own like audio mixer. So these are basically like the ultimate headphones. They aren't really like specifically gaming headphones. These are absolutely amazing though. The sound quality on them is insane, and they just look extremely good. I already just unboxed them like 2 days ago, and dude, it is so comfortable. The headband is very, very high quality. I think these headphones are like $400, so they are definitely like a pretty penny, but I will say that the sound quality on these is absolutely insane, and just the control that you also get with the little audio mixer, I think is just gonna be perfect on this setup. This is the little like audio mixer. I was waiting to like actually film a video to take off all the wrapping, but it actually has a little screen and you can just adjust different things. screens, and you have all the kind of mic in, like USB kind of ports on the back. So this is just gonna be really useful for like kind of controlling audio on the setup. And of course, if I'm using a headset, you guys already know I always recommend getting a headset stand. I like the ones that actually sit on the desk because I just like having my headphones right over here so they like look kind of nice in a setup. However, you can get some that's just 3M to the bottom of your desk, but overall these are like anywhere from like $5 to $10. I'll link everything that I use in this setup and room down below for anyone interested. But yeah, we also have a little bit of space, actually the perfect amount of space for the audio mixer. And that is pretty much it for the main peripherals of the setup. I actually decided to move the audio mixer right over there, and the overall setup is looking amazing. And this is without any decorations or RGB. But apart from this gaming setup, like I mentioned, I actually had a really cool idea I literally just thought of for a setup on this, and trust me, it's not gonna be a setup that you guys think of at all. It's just gonna be something that's very useful for me specifically. So to power on this setup, it is not a gaming setup, but I will be using a gaming laptop. It's basically just one I bought like 2 years ago. It has a Core i5 GTX 1660 and also 16 gigabytes of RAM, so it's able to get like 150 FPS. Right now, I'm just gonna put it right smack in the middle because I'll actually show you guys what I always use this laptop for. It probably is something you guys would never guess, which is literally just to print labels and like do shipping labels, since I always am like sending gaming PCs or products out to giveaway winners. However, this just kind of like, this is a little bit plain. So I actually have something that I think you guys will like a little bit more, because I think for some of you guys, this might be like, bruh, what is this? Which is this insane speaker I literally just got sent by a sponsor. It is from a brand called Morning Blues, and if you guys don't know, I've like been following Morning Blues for a while, but this entire speaker is literally a screen. I'm not even joking. You guys will see when I actually plug it in. I'm not gonna leak it, but it will basically match the lyrics of the songs you're doing, play images, it can play like really satisfying sounds. And then the last thing I'm probably gonna add on this tabletop is just this lamp. I usually like to add fake plants, but I literally have a giant grass wall panel, so I think any plants here will, I guess, blend in, so there's not really a point of adding it. Plus, this will actually add a lot of color and light because it is an RGB bulb. But yeah, I think for me, honestly, randomly coming up with something, this is really good, and especially with that speaker, I can just jam tunes and like do whatever I want, and I finally have a dedicated printing setup. This is honestly like such a first world type of thing, but yeah, you'd be surprised as a content creator, like kind of what goes on behind the scenes. Or basically, when I started content, I never knew that I would basically dream of having this. Now this whole part of the room looks a lot more filled out and way better. However, this shelf is actually missing like all of its decorations. And of course, that means it's time for the fun part, which is adding decorations. And I have a few kind of like little things that I think will really blend in into this setup and like overall room. And starting off at the top of the shelf, I definitely want to have like one of the cooler things that you can kind of see. So I have my old PS4 that I do use for videos like pretty often. So I'm just gonna kind of display this right over here. And there is still a lot of space that I definitely think I want to add a plant. And to completely switch it up, since we have like gaming stuff at the top, I'm just gonna go with like more car related stuff over here. I think this is looking pretty good over here. This RTX 4090 box kind of matches the dark color scheme. But next we have a little graphics card. This is actually the RTX 4060 Ti, so I might use this in a future PC build. It's just gonna sit over here for like decoration for now, so I'm just gonna kind of go like that and then add that. So I think it's actually looking pretty good, just like some simple decorations. I actually am a Xbox fanboy at heart, so of course I am gonna be adding the Xbox One horizontally right over here, so it's kind of different than what we did with the PlayStation at the top. So just with a few decorations, it really kind of completed the rest of the room. I honestly might change these white ones for like some black decorations, just so it kind of matches the old dark kind of black theme I've been going looking for. However, with all the plants on the shelf and also like this entire grass wall panel, I think it makes the setup look a little bit plain without a plant. I don't really want to go too crazy, so I'm just literally gonna add like one plant right over here. Now the whole room looks a lot more filled out. Obviously, like I mentioned, these are gonna be filled out over time just as I get like more storage boxes, because I'm not gonna be adding any decorations. This is actually just gonna be kind of something that's useful. I honestly already added most of the lighting. It just doesn't like look like it because nothing is turned on. However, the only thing I might add is like a tiny RGB strip under the setup. But believe it or not, the room is actually pretty much entirely done. So you guys already know what time it is. Let's just cut to the final room cinematic. Boom. I'll link everything I used in this room down below in the description, and make sure you drop a sub because we're trying to hit 1 million subs by the end of the year. If you want to upgrade your own gaming setup, make sure you check out my brand new mouse pads at Elevate Culture, linked down below. More importantly, remember Jesus loves you, and that's about it. God bless.